So, welcome to the newest masterclass at the Business Readiness Program in the office. If you're watching and you're personally friends with me, you saw me post the brand new couch. I did. I said, I got a brand new couch, and I got a brand new couch because I'm having 2 guests instead of 1. And I was stressing. You can ask Kane. I was actually legitimately stressing out about like how I was going to fix you guys. And I was like, I can't put them in like just regular chairs. That's not cute. That's not a good look. I was like, but we could do. And finally, I found this couch.
Well, it's beautiful.
You know where I found this couch?
Where?
So there is a building downtown in Janesville. And Kane and I were walking through it yesterday. And I'd seen the couch at a previous walkthrough with the owner. And I said, I like that couch. He's like, I'll let you know. Well, we were walking through with the manager, like property manager of the building. And he was like, yeah, I'm throwing out this couch. And I was like, no. I like this couch. It'll match my orange chairs. And so he was like, okay, well, you can have it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll bring my truck up tomorrow. We'll get it. He texted me 30 minutes later. He's like, it's loaded in my truck. Where am I meeting? He wanted it out of the property. So nice. He dropped it off. So we've had the couch for 24 hours.
Nice.
Yeah. So
we're high maintenance.
Clearly I am too. But I will say it's a good napping couch. Because previous I had to put both chairs together so I could take a little nappy nap. Now I don't have to put chairs together. I can just nap on the couch.
And the camera doesn't show up. There's another chair now. So now
we could have 2 people napping in here.
You could have, and future guests, you could have.
Oh, I know.
You just pile them
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know. I'm going to come up with something, I'm sure. I did tell Kane that we should probably do like a fun like round table, like a hot seat kind of thing. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. But that being said, we're here today with you guys. So if you'd like to introduce yourself to the people that are watching.
Sure. We like to introduce each other.
Okay.
Just confuses people.
Cute.
It is.
Yeah. That's so adorable.
Yeah. So this is Chad Beier. Chad started his career as a developer, very technical, Fortune 500 companies. And he kind of figured out like this isn't really working. Like we're not providing a lot of value.
Yep.
And he's like, there's got to be a better way. And so he ended up meeting Ken Schwaber, who's the creator of Scrum, and is like, we need to do what they're talking about. Went and bought this book, or he actually won a book from him, Software in 30 Days, went to his manager's office after the weekend of reading and said, why aren't we doing this? I'm doing this. And kind of the rest is history. Just started doing it. And then we met at this consultancy, and he was in this part we call the agile practice, where they were helping organizations just deliver value very frequently. And after a few years of working together there, he left, started his own company, left me behind, but then like any good friend,
left him behind.
Like, does the reckless thing and talks him into joining. So that's what he did. And then we've been running a company together ever since. And well, we could tell maybe a little more details we're going to, but there's like a dating phase, and then like we kind of got engaged as a company, and then we got married.
I have questions. I mean, that's something that we get a lot is like, I want to start a partnership with somebody, and it's hard.
Let's dive into that.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So this is Jeff Buwalda, partner in crime. So everything he said is mostly true. It is reckless to convince someone else to start. It is like to quit their job, just like because.
It's not willy-nilly, but it is.
It might not go. It might not go well. But anyway,
it did this time.
His background similar. Started out in technical roles, and was working in healthcare. I think one of your first big jobs. And then we met at the consultancy. We were in different parts of that at the time. Okay. So he was in this part of the consultancy that was basically this high-performing product software development team that a client could pay for, and they pay for a 2-week period on the calendar at a time, call it a sprint, and basically they would deliver value for them, like not plan, not like analysis, but like tangible products that you can use. And so they were very high performing teams. I mean, they got paid to deliver. If they didn't deliver, sometimes they just wouldn't get paid. So it was very, very high performing environment. And he got to be, he was a contributing
everybody
developer.
Was so good at their job that it made it easy.
Just amazing company that we were at. But he had the luxury of being multiple roles on that team. So he was a product owner, which is Scrum term, Scrum master, and then a developer. So he played these various roles, all this crazy experience on these high performing teams. And so then eventually he joined the part of the company that I was in, doing more change, agile training, things like that. And then the rest is history. That's when we sort of started working together. And eventually, I guess, then, yeah, like you said.
Yeah.
For me, though, introducing Jeff, the reason I love having Jeff as a business partner, I always try to hit my three things. He's the kindest person and kind and giving, I guess. So he is a giver. No, but he is such a giver, right? So I don't know if anyone's ever read the book Give and Take by
Adam Grant.
Adam Grant.
Yeah.
But like when I'm reading it, I'm like, I think I'm a taker or like a matcher, but Jeff's a giver, right? And it's just such a great quality because when you give and don't ever expect anything in return, he has more relationships than me. He knows more people. He's amazing. The other thing as a business partner is he's the most disciplined person I know. And so I'm one of those people who, in my past especially, I'm going to start working out and then you stop working out. I'm going to start working out, things like that. And he's disciplined with that. So he's helped me in things that are personal, but also in the business. I'll be thinking about sending an email. He'll send the email, right? So he's very regimented. And that's the third quality I jumped to, but proactive. He's proactive. He doesn't wait for things. Whereas I am a little hesitant to act quickly. He'll act very quickly, right? And which can be a good balance for us. So anyway, but 3 qualities. He's kind and giving. He's proactive. He's disciplined. He's a great partner to have. So that's Jeff.
That's a match made in heaven. I would say I'm probably a little bit more on the taker side as well. I feel like maybe, I don't know. I'm very, very nice, but I'm also like, I always say I'm very patient, but not very tolerant. And so that has been, at least for me, like very hard in like long-term partnerships or long-term, because I'm like, I just don't like you. Like, it gets to a point where I'm like, I'm having to do so much for you that I just don't want to do it at all. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting. And I will say you guys are the first ones to come on the masterclass, which is part of the reason I wanted you guys, is because you guys are a partnership and you run a company together.
I think that what's important is finding that right person. There's a lot of partnerships that don't work out and they're really horrible stories. It is like a marriage. Like it's like you are binding your household incomes together. There's a lot of intertwined things. Like the separate is like going through a divorce. And so you don't take that lightly when you're going to make that decision. And so I really think it is like a relationship. Like Chad and I use this analogy all the time. So like when we started, it was like, hey, we're going to start slow. We're just going to go on a couple dates. Like we did some public speaking together, partner, did a few things. And then we're like, we really like working with each other. And we worked together at that consultancy. But then it was like, oh, we moved to different cities. Because it was like I was working over here, he's working over there, different locations. Now we're don't have that connection at the consultancy. We still found ways to work together. We're like, we want to like, what can we do together? I have a training class coming. I'd love for you to partner with me. What does that look like? And then we'd figure it out. And he would do the same for me. And we kind of went back and forth. And so it was like this dating, but we were dating other people. Like we were doing this with other people too. And so it's like, we're not.
This analogy's falling apart.
Or hear me out. What? We were figuring it out. But what we realized is like we like working together more and we were a really good fit for each other. And so then we just said, we're gonna like kind of be exclusive and we're gonna just all the time. And then after a while we just like, probably should, like, our customers are kind of getting confused. Like, is it Jeff's company? Is it Chad's company? Like, how do you guys work together? We got to explain that. Like, maybe we should just like get married. They're kind of like telling us like we should tie the knot, like we don't see this ending anytime soon. Like we want to be doing this for a long, long period of time. And so then we just did that. And that was about almost 5 years ago. So
I was going to ask, when did you officially start?
Yeah, it was 2022.
Yeah, April
I believe
22
was when we formed the new LLC. So it's interesting because what we were doing is just when you start an LLC, and this is great for people who are thinking about starting their, like $130, you have an LLC. It's very simple. Yeah. And when we were looking at how we wanted to partner and pair together, we valued autonomy and freedom a lot. And so part of like forming a partnership too soon was, but what if we were like, what if I wanted to do this? What if? And so we would like, I remember we would like throw scenarios on the wall. Like, what happens if you get a call and there's a gig and you want to go do it, but I don't want to do that one? And so we were like, we worked it all out. And so that's why we started with, we have our own LLCs and we just would subcontract underneath the other person. Right. And then eventually we were like, okay, we'll form a new entity. And now we share that. And so it's, again, details, but those kind of mattered to us because we didn't want to just jump into combining everything right away. And we still have a little bit of flexibility, I guess, in the way we're structured.
You've got options.
We have no end in sight of like working together. I feel like every day we're like, you said is hard work. I feel like we feel fortunate that like
it is
on a good day at work, you love what you're doing. And on a bad day, we're still kind of like the alternative of what we would do otherwise. Still take this.
We still got to hang out. Yeah. So, okay. So then with that, because we both have consultancies that are similar but different outside of BRP. If anyone watching didn't know that, that's how I make my money. Okay. BRP makes me $0.00. Actually, it costs me a lot of money, so you're very welcome. So, that being said, do you guys have an office together? Do you work separately or together?
We mainly, we work from our offices at our house, and then we go to client sites when we have to. I would say right now, somewhere around 80% of our work is just working from home, remote yet. Anytime we're doing a sales or marketing day or what, running the business type stuff, like we can do that on Zoom, together all the time. And that's kind of how we work. So we don't have that overhead costs. Our business has very little overhead in the grand scheme of things because we don't pay a separate sales team. We don't have a marketing team, we don't have an accounting team. Like we do it all. And so we are very multi-skilled in what we do. And I think some partnerships, it's like, you take this, I'll take this, and they divide it down the middle, but they still got to coordinate and collaborate and keep each other in sync. And they're kind of single threaded in that sense. And we're not. Like we could operate completely independently of each other. And we do, but we choose to work together and we know we're better together. And so we do a lot together, but we divide when we need to.
That's smart. And I think that's maybe at least the partnerships that I've had to deal with. And usually when they're coming to me, like for consulting, they're falling apart. They're not doing so hot, right? And it's a lot of you were supposed to do that. And you're like, well, you could have read that document too. You know, like the document was there for both of you to read just because it was an accounting task and you don't do accounting tasks doesn't mean you shouldn't know about it. And so that has been something I've seen with a lot of non-growing or very stagnant partnerships is that the delineation between it's you or me, versus like, no, we just kind of pick up where we need to. So that's very smart. That's a very good way to do it.
And the power of pairing, like we love talking about pairing, but the best way to just maintain that multi-skilledness and continue to upskill yourself. Obviously AI has changed things. So like never been easier to upskill in anything on the planet, but we still find a lot of value in just pairing on things. Like, I don't know, it's simple. Like it could be an accounting task. It could be, filing some legal document. It could be reviewing a document. The more we just do together, right? Some people would divide that and conquer. And we would rather knock some of that out. Now, maybe we've taken it to an extreme sometimes where like, we're like drafting an email together and it's like,
but
sometimes if one of us just took it.
But sometimes it's like, this is a sales relationship and like we're trying to get a meeting to get a sale. And so like, it is really important. And these are crucial things. Like, how do we word this? How do we want to approach it? How's that going to lead into that next conversation?
My question is always, am I doing too much? Because I do. I will over explain, over give, over, and then it turns into, this literally just happened this week. I sent out a proposal and it started as an 8-page document. And I sent it to Kane and I sent it to Anna, my executive assistant. I said, what y'all think? And Kane was like, woman, if you do not pare that down. And I was like, okay. And this is like not a proposal he would have to do. He would be doing a completely separate contract, but same client. And so he was like, you need to do less. And I was like, okay. And I brought it down. I brought it down to 4 whole pages. I was so proud of it because I will, like, I'm an over planner. I'm going to just put everything out there and then at least and people aren't going to read that anyway. And I know this, but still, at least it was live. So that's the lawyer in me though. It's going to over information it and then see why.
We balance ourselves out a little bit with some of that. I'm more risk averse. He's a little looser, but the amount of times we use each other for a sounding board, it's so many times in a day. Like even today we were with a client and in the arc of a minute conversation, I think you threw something into the room. I kind of bounced an idea off and where we ended up is not where we would have ended up if one of us was there alone in that conversation. And so it happens so often. And I think we've just gotten so used to working that way. Our clients have gotten used to us pairing as well, though. Like we come as a package everywhere we go pretty much.
Yeah.
And they just kind of expect it. We train together, we do workshops together.
I think one of the key things though that's different is that we're not selling hours or like a commodity. We're selling on outcomes. And so you're selling an outcome, and the outcome that we know doesn't happen if we're not together, and we know that's the best way to deliver on that outcome. And so that's how we structure things.
No, I agree. And I will say, just for everybody watching or listening so that they know, you guys have a fractional agency or company, however you want to say that.
Sure. So we have like three things that we
So
mainly
it's a service.
Well, it's a service business, right?
Yes.
So we will do fractional leadership, and sometimes we come in together like, hey, we might be the chief change officer here as we go. We help with transformation. So we're going to go through a big change in the organization, and we're going to be your players, coaches, like in the work with you. We're not going to sit on the sidelines. Or we're going to help with the leadership team. And maybe there's like, hey, we need to make decisions better. We need to like make them together. We need to follow through on them. We need to set a strategy. We need to execute on that. Help us figure that out. Those are like kind of the main things that we do now. And it really is about helping teams and organizations turn strategy into execution. That's about, and the change execution is what we're great at. Like that's the part where it's like, hey, we can tell you all the stuff. We've learned this over years. We can tell you all the stuff in the world, teach you in a great 2-day training. You're going to come out of it saying, these are the best trainings that rock my world, best ever. And then we're going to come back in 3 months and you're not going to have done any of it.
We've been referring to ourselves lately, and I think at one point someone called us, but the fast forward button. Like we're the fast forward button for change. Because again, change, everyone always like, change is so hard. And it's not really hard. It comes back to the word tolerance that you used earlier. You get what you tolerate. And that's microculture and within a family, that's greater society. We get what we tolerate. And so I think when you're talking about org change, it's not much different. If you want change to happen, you have to stop tolerating the things you don't want in the status quo. And then those things will get morphed, shaped, changed to your new status quo. And so a lot of it, what we do is just like come in and set a new expectation for what it sounds really like. Who are these guys? We come in and we're just like, we're not tolerating this, but we do it in a kinder, softer way.
Probably softer than I would, to be honest. I'm like, no. Kane, all the time, he'll listen to me on a call. He was like, wow. And I was like, you know what? They weren't paying me to be nice. They're paying me to make the money. I don't know what to tell you. The answer to that was no.
Not paying me to be nice.
So, I mean, I am bubbly. I'm very friendly, but like, really? This is what we're going to talk about today? And that's kind of my personality. I will say, this is a few years ago, I went to a talk from an Olympic, so like multi-level, like been to like, I think 4 or 5 Olympics. He's 60 years old now. He just was in the 2024. Was that the last one? Yeah, because it's 2028 next, right? So 2024 Olympics in Paris, whatever. Anyway, and so he did a whole talk on mindset. And one of the things he kept saying is, do not accept this.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, that's a really good like mantra. Don't accept that. You just don't accept that.
Yeah.
We can do better. Like there could be better. Or I don't accept it. I don't want to do it ever again. You know, so that has been one of my mantras like throughout my whole entire life. Not just for my writing, but like, I don't accept this. We're going to do something different. So, okay. So I know I do have questions. Anybody watching is welcome to send in questions because we prepped questions and I want to make sure that I'm not, you know, completely skipping. A lot of founders start without a lot of structure. And I know you guys went through a really good dating period, which is amazing and commendable. But did you start building systems even though you were subcontracting or working that way from day one? Or did that come later when you're like, all right, now we're making this official?
I think a lot of our approaches to sales and to how we structured things started coming out real early, and we worked through them as they needed to be figured out.
Okay.
And so we didn't go way in the future be like, well, how are we going to do our accounting together? It's like, well, that's not a problem we need to solve 5 years from now. Like we didn't even think about that stuff yet. And so that's kind of an approach in all the stuff we do. It's like, what's the thing we need to solve in the near future to get this thing done? Let's figure that out. And we put that structure in place kind of just in time.
That's what I was going to say, just in time. Like we would let the need emerge and then we put something in place.
Okay.
And now I think another thing we've been trying to like be more adamant about is
Proactive.
what can we remove?
Yeah.
Because like before you know it, it's very easy to like, oh, we need things for this, things for this, things for this. And then before you know it, it's like, what are all these subscriptions we're paying for? And do we really need this? And just for 2 people, right? So I mean, I'm always like nudging him like, should we pay annual for this or should we pay monthly? Because we might just want to try it out and then we scrap it, right? And so that's
I'm
more
a big fan of
software tools
monthly
and
and
stuff.
after a quarter, if I've used it enough, I go, all right, I suppose.
Yeah.
I log into this a lot. You know, like this software, I mean, Restream, which is what we're using to go live and record all this, that I will say, I paid monthly and now we've paid yearly for it because I've gone live enough and I've used it enough.
Yeah. So I think that's a great approach. But yeah, as far as like non-software tools and just, you know, ways of working that we do, a lot of that's just emerged, right? I mean, we're constantly trying to come up with better ways to do things. We're constantly checking ourselves on how are we approaching prospecting? How is our public speaking? What's our pipeline? How are we doing with sales? Like looking for opportunities for improvement in anything. I mean, the accounting stuff's all boring. Like that's never really fun. To, like, whatever. You got to pay.
Actually, no, I like 2 parts of accounting. Like this. What money did I get?
Yeah.
And what money do I have to pay taxes on?
Yeah.
Those are my 2 favorite things.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'll leave accounting to the end of the year.
Yeah. It's not fun.
It's not fun. It really isn't. Okay. So I guess the other thing for those watching, I'm a really big proponent of writing down your SOPs or your systems, right? We use this and this way for this, right? Right. So like we use Facebook for posts and we ask everyone to comment kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like we have a system every single time, no matter what. Or, you know, like we go live and, you know, there's an email that goes out. It goes to these places. What we're going to do afterward is, you know, edit it and cut it up. And, right. So do you guys write those down? Oh, no.
He doesn't write anything down. So I write things down.
You write some things down, but I think when you have less people, like, so there's only 2 of us, right? There's only the one line of communication.
That's true.
We pair on almost everything.
Yeah.
And so
that's true.
There is less need for like there to be like, oh, Chad's doing steps 1 through 8 and I'm doing steps 9 through 16. Like we don't do it that way.
Yeah.
But there are times where it's like we do need to write down some goals where it's like, oh, this is how we're going to do it, because sometimes if we don't do it frequently, we've said. So
I get lost in the sauce. I'm a lost in the saucer.
Yeah, it's funny. Like he is a planner because he'll plan his vacations like
years in advance.
But I'm
that's a lot though. That is a lot.
And then I just cancel vacations because I don't plan them, and then I'm like complain about the cost of flights, and then I just like.
Oh, see, and I'm
very last minute.
See, I'm last minute. We're like. I decided about 3 weeks ago, the last week of July, we're going to New York and we're going to go watch a bunch of Broadway. Like it was literally, it was a day. I had everything booked.
You 2 are the same.
And Devin was like, yep, okay, I guess we're going.
Right. But on another note, you said you like to plan. And so for the things that I'm doing.
It's completely planned. I just wasn't planning
you did it very late.
Have a vacation. I went, no, I want that.
Yeah. So here's where I was thinking when I was like, where I write things down. It's very minimal things, but like I edit our podcast.
Okay.
And so when I am like working out a new way of doing something, I sometimes will like write that down because the more infrequent you do something and you got to come back to it. Right. Yep. So let's say we let a few months go by with our podcast, and I got to go through. So like that's something we wrote down.
Okay.
Other things we write down though, I don't know. It's very minimal.
Okay.
Because again, we are asynchronously communicating. We're synchronously communicating all throughout the day, almost every day. So there's very
little need.
Need that we would need to document something.
I mean, we document like our sales pipeline and like where things are at and like what our follow-ups are, when we need to do them and things like that. Like that we're pretty religious on. Like we're pretty strict on that.
Yep.
Because we don't want to lose something.
Yep.
But like it's the things that aren't frequent that we would add documentation to, but the things that we're doing all the time, like how we approach a discovery call, like we know how we're doing that. We don't need to write it down. It would be repetitive for us.
I think it's clippable, like the infrequent stuff that you're only going to do once a month or once every month or once a quarter is write downable. And I think that's big because a lot of like the people that are following the Business Readiness Program are brand new or not quite into starting a business. And so they don't have a team, right? They don't have other people to rely on. It's them themselves. And, it's me, myself, and I kind of. So it is different. I have to write everything down because like well, I'm a constant iterator. So if I don't have a to-do, like it's a to-do list for me, right? I do this first, then we do the second, and then otherwise I'll be like halfway through and be like, well, we could do it extra this way. And then I'll, 4 hours later, I'm still doing the same task. So I do it that way.
So you're like, I think we're a lot of like some
Probably.
personality traits here. If you've completed a task in a day, will you go and add it and mark it off?
Probably. Mostly because it's probably not the task I was supposed to complete that day, which irritates me to no end, but I do it every day.
I don't know what it is, but in my brain, I feel better leaving that, like knowing I did it and I created the task and I marked it off. So now I can look back and be like, I did that on that day.
I was accomplishing something.
And I don't know if I really need to do that, but I find myself doing that a lot.
I do it a lot.
But I also like walk by my refrigerator like 200 times a day and just make sure the door's shut and like things like that. So I could have some things. I don't think so.
Autism. I be counting.
But I definitely am like I think it's because I'm risk averse. And so my justification is if a refrigerator gets left out open overnight, your food spoils, which maybe happened in my family within the last month.
I love a good risk. I do the most dangerous sport on the planet daily.
Which is?
Riding horses.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about that.
I love a good risk. I joined the Army and was like, if you want me to jump out of planes, sure. Now, did it fuck my knee up? 100%. I got to jump out of a whole whopping 0 planes. I fucked it up in practice. Okay? Which probably saved my life, if we're going to be honest, because my ADHD would have been like, where are we going?
Yeah.
Falling down,
Yeah.
So I know this about myself now. I didn't know that about myself at 18. But that being said, I am down.
Others,
I take all the risks.
Okay, you love the risks. You like to plan to be risky.
I like to plan to be risky.
All right.
So I will say
like a risk with a plan.
Right, what's the point? Right, what's the point then?
Yeah.
I will say, for example, for BRP, to kind of give you I don't know if you know this. So the background is we used to have a entrepreneur education program in Beloit. Their contract was not renewed, or they decided to leave or whatever. And I saw a huge hole. I was doing a lot of consulting for the SBDC, for Rock County. Anyway, I was repeating myself over and over and over again. Again, remember, patient, not tolerant. I was getting annoyed. I was like, we shouldn't have to say the same 10 things every time somebody starts a business. There's got to be a better way.
Mm-hmm.
So I put together this whole plan and I sent it off to the place where this entrepreneur training program used to be. They didn't renew their contract, right? So I was like, do a contract with me. I'm like 1/8 of the price. I don't have the overhead of a giant team. I know the people in the area. It'll be easy. They did not respond. They opened it multiple times, did not respond. So I sat on it. This was like December, January of last year. I was like, well, I'm not doing it. That's a lot of money to do it. And I was doing my numbers because I am really weirdly good at planning forward. And then it's hard for me to keep up with it because I'm like, well, I did it all. And I was planning forward and I was looking at my numbers for 2026. And I went, I think we have some room. I think I could do it. I really wasn't planning on hiring. I did end up hiring, but I wasn't planning on hiring. I was like, I'll use that money to run a program. It's going to go into a nonprofit. I can write it off. We love a good write-off around here. So I did. And so that was a big risk because running a cohort costs anywhere between 30 and 40 grand. And so that's a big chunk of cash. And so, I took that leap, assuming and hoping that there would be backing, support, etc. as we went through. So I'm one of those, like I have a really good idea, but I think I'm feeling my age a little bit more, that I will wait on something. Even though I'm like, oh, that's a good ass idea. But then I'll wait on it. Now that is the flip side of like, I bought, $1,500 worth of podcasting equipment on a whim one day. And I went, we'll do a podcast. And we did not. I set up a whole website. It's live if you want to look at it for a completely different podcast. So like I do like a little, it's weird. It's weird that way. I am not risk averse, but I'm trying to be less impulsive.
I think what we don't do is long-term detailed planning. We will do high-level planning long-term, but we won't do long-term detailed planning. Like it's just, it's good to be wasteful. It's all going to change by the time you get to when you actually are going to execute on it.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe when we say we don't plan. We do high-level planning, but we don't do like detailed level planning way on the long term.
Like when we do public speaking, I mean, we submit a title we submit a title and an abstract, and we build the talk sometimes
of.
the day before.
Yeah.
We've done the day of. Like when I was in college and I had a public speaking class, I was nervous because I didn't care about the topic, and all you're focused on is I'm in front of a room right now. But once you get really comfortable with the area that you're an expert in, it just, everything flows naturally. And then you get to the point where like you just start saying the same thing over and over again in a way. Like you can spin it differently, but your content is very similar. So you change the name of the talk, but you go deliver mostly the same talk with a little bit of an iteration on it. And so we do that often.
I'm going to clip that. I'm going to play that for cohort 2 when they're talking about doing their 30-second pitch. And I'm like, you need to say it enough that you kind of like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Right. But, if I'm talking to somebody that doesn't know anything about software or sales funnels or blah, blah, I'm not going to go in depth with the numbers and the data. I'm just going to be like, the person that you talk to at the car dealership, but they don't have to get it. I don't do car dealerships. Don't ask me.
This is where AI can come in so handy now too, though. Like, help me craft a 1-minute pitch. Help me craft a 30-second pitch. Help me craft a 10-second pitch. And you just feed it some content and iterate on that and then practice that.
And then put in your own words, and then it'll give you feedback on it.
Absolutely. And then you have it all in your tool belt. So if you're like, again, you meet somebody and you're like, oh, what are you about? What are you doing? You hit them with the 10-second. And then if they ask another follow-up question, you go into your 30-second. So I think AI is exciting right now for anything for a new business owner because there's so much you can do that was so hard to do on your own.
Oh my gosh.
Just 3 or 4 years ago even.
Yeah.
So it's incredible.
No, I don't disagree. So actually, I guess I never really showed you what the cohort goes through, but week 1, I make everyone do their 30-second pitch off bat. If you're watching this and you're going to be in cohort 2, I guess, surprise, like that's how they introduce themselves. And then they have to practice it as the weeks go on. But I give them a handout. I'm like, this is the template, the various templates you could use. And then you can put them into AI with your information. And so pretty much everything we go through, I go, this is how you would do it in AI.
Yeah.
Because I want them to get good at prompting and utilizing, not just like, I need this. And that's your whole prompt. I think not, right? Because it's only as good as what you put in. And it's very helpful.
Yeah.
It is very, very helpful. I will say I was a full ChatGPT girl for like the last 2 years, give or take.
You made a switch?
I made a switch.
To what?
Claude.
Oh, okay.
I did for 2 reasons. One, Claude dropped the Pentagon contract and ChatGPT picked that bitch right up. And I went, okay, good to know. So there was that. But secondarily, Claude does code better, and Claude, you can input SOPs. So, for example, if you have a way that you like to do something, like for me, it's like blog writing, right? I do these 8 things every single blog.
Yeah.
I don't need to feedback on the first 2. I need you to give me it so I can feedback, and then you can do 3, 4, 5, and then you can give it to me, feedback, pop out the document. And it has turned it around so quick. Now it's like it's the same process every time. So I know what it's going out and reaching for and grabbing and bringing in is the same. You can also save your brand voices. So again, I have clients, right? So I don't always write like Nate. So I can save how Nate talks in there as a brand voice. So it still sounds like Nate's company.
Sure.
And then obviously they can go through and edit it and do the things. But that way it makes it a little bit faster and easier. Of like, hey, we want to talk about this, this, and this. Here's the data. Here's the information. Here's what happened, blah, blah, blah. And make it sound like Nate. And it goes. So I love, you can save quite a bit there. And it's 2 words, blog SOP, and it pulls up the skill because you've made the skill, and it goes. So I really like that. And that's why I switched over to Claude, and that's my little soapbox.
It's becoming like the switching cost, of like, oh, do I really want to switch my cell phone plan? It's like you have so much stuff with your model. So like ChatGPT is my number 1. Gemini, because we get it with Workspace, is and I'll experiment here and there, but there's like a comfort level with ChatGPT, and I've never even written a prompt to Claude. I haven't done anything with that.
I love
and
Claude.
Then a little bit of
he's the newest
XAI.
love of my life.
Yeah.
But no, I will say ChatGPT, like for my personal brand voice, because I had trained it for so long, and I'm like real sarcastic and slightly raunchy. Like I will put a joke in there if I can, kind of thing. It has gotten really good at it. Like my assistant Anna will be like, I can't write that email back. I'm not going to sound like you. Like, you're right. Okay, give me a second. And so that has been a huge saver, though, of like, hey, I need you to go do this, and this. Go in there, put the information we need to send out in there, tell it to make it sound like me, and it comes out with my little sarcastic self. So, highly recommended. What else are you using? So, what else are you using AI for?
So
we did some blog
tools.
writing.
Yeah.
We do a lot of just content, bouncing around content back and forth, and then the tools are the most recent thing.
That was fun. So like we had encoded in, well, you built this app.
I launched an app in the App Store, which was like, that's a completely separate side thing.
Is it cool? Can I look it up?
I mean, you can look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's not going anywhere right now, but maybe
It's called to track like how old your stuff is. Like how old is when's the last time I did my oil change? When's the last time I changed my furnace filter? When's the last time? What are my niece's ages?
age of
And you just track all the stuff. Like you can always look it up and like when did I do that? Oh yeah.
No, okay, is it on Apple or?
Oh, it's only on Apple. Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is awkward. Yeah, I
Fine.
didn't build it cross-platform because I was just gonna start with one.
I am a through and through non-Apple girly.
Well, anyway,
don't.
For everyone else out there,
Like, I actually really hate it. Anyway, if you come to the cohort with a MacBook, I can't even click on stuff. I legit I can't. I end up messing up your MacBook every time. I'm like, go back to where we were. Go.
Yeah.
I'm like an old man. I'm like, I don't know what I did, but I broke it.
I mean, I used to support Windows machines on like a campus,
Yeah.
college campus, and I'm the same way now. If I pick up a Windows machine, I click the wrong things because
Really, because you fully.
the shortcuts with Mac are just in my brain now.
Yeah.
See, and my problem is, but shortcuts with Windows are in my brain, and I'll go like Control C or Control V, and I'm like, it didn't work. Oh yeah, wait, no, I got to do the command thing. And then, so one of my longest time, I'll read them in a second. Now we're the AI talking, so I know they're talking about AI. One of my longest time, like we dated for a long time. We never actually opened a business together, but subcontracting. Okay, she is a Mac user through and through. Her name is Lindsay. If you're watching, what's up, babe? And she'd be like, if you don't switch over, and I'm like, I'm not. I can't do it. She sent me stuff, and I'm like, I can't open that. I don't know what to do. Like, I can't. So anyway, that's been a long-term thing. So, okay. So I guess that being said, this is a completely switch. Actually, wait, no, let me ask questions. Felicia with the Icing Lab went through the cohort. She won pitch night.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Agreed on the benefits of AI, but using it in moderation. It's more helpful when it remembers your brand voice. Correct. Very true. You can train it. And then Nina, she was the first one to pitch. She's got the potty training stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the stickers. Okay. I would love to compare notes on how you're using Claude. Jocelyn might have to spin off a whole nother class. So it's really funny. Both Felicia and Nina. I'm going to say it out loud because I can now. They both know. We put out a grant. So once a quarter we have a grant. It's a $500 grant. And Felicia won the grant, and the board loved Nina and Josh's application so much that they are spending more money. They all got grant money.
Awesome.
So yeah, they're really killing it. But one of the things that I've talked with both of them, because they're doing so well in their businesses and growing, is like, how do we re-engage that next, like, okay, you started, you're making money. Now what?
Yeah.
So we've been talking back and forth how to do that. But anyway.
We're kind of talking about the uses of AI. So we created this like tool that has like this library of things that we use. So like we have like one pagers for courses we teach, for like dojo programs we have, for case studies we have. And we've basically, like, when the case study one's pretty interesting. So when Chad and I, when we're with a client, we have a Google Doc up, and we're chatting back and forth about this. No, we got to take this action, and we got to do this thing. And we're like keeping notes every meeting of what we need to do. And it's not so much that like we could have AI do this for us. It keeps us in sync and what's going on in our head, because we can't stop a large meeting we're in with whatever. And it's like, yeah, we just store that. Yep. Are you hearing this? Yep. Okay, how are we gonna approach it? Like, and we're like managing that on side. Well, we had this whole long thing. Like, we might be with a client for many, many months.
Yeah.
And we've just like plug that in, use our branding, help us create a case study. Here's the things we wanted to do. Beautiful. It's amazing.
And it's all anonymized.
Wait a damn second now. Because, okay, my team was just yelling at me because I haven't written a case study in a hot minute. And they were like, well, look at this. And we're just talking about this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we are doing really well with them. And they're like, are you gonna write that down? And I was like, yeah. And I told them during our team meeting 4 weeks ago, I was going to do that, and I've been putting it off.
But it helps to have that kind of running transcript, which we get by just the way we work. But you could still feed it the ideas and the main objectives of your case study, and you'll
Some
still
good
be able to
stuff.
get way farther along than just writing it from scratch.
That's so smart.
Not different than a blog post. So.
Because I'm fully AI girly, I have been AI from like the get. So were you guys around for the club? Well, you were around, but like, did you do anything with Clubhouse?
I tried it and then I just kind of fell off.
Yeah,
of it.
Oh, I love that shit. I made so much money on Clubhouse. Again, I'm a chatter McChatterton. I'll spend fucking hours talking to people. I don't care. What am I doing? Taking a shower? Also on Clubhouse talking. I didn't care. I was on Clubhouse. I had like probably 58,000 followers on Clubhouse.
Wow.
Okay. That was back when I was in a whole, yeah, that was different. But I was on Clubhouse and I met this lady, and this is back, like Clubhouse was not pre-AI, but like consumer level AI. Like we didn't have that, right? Like, and she set up a whole program, and now I'm less impressed with it because we have really good AI, but it was, you could feed in meetings or trainings you've done, and it would feed back posts that you could make on social. So it's kind of the same idea. So
Yeah.
I have been in AI for, I don't know, what is that, almost 10 years, not quite. And so she would, like, that was one of the first ones. I still think she's probably around. I do wonder what she's doing. But that being said, she introduced me to Otter AI. Where back then you had to take your like Zoom recording, download it, and re-upload it, and then it would make notes and transcribe it. Now, I don't know if you can see it at the bottom of the screen, but it's there. And she comes with me to every meeting.
Yeah.
And she gives me a to-do list at the end of every meeting, because I am not going to remember what I said. And so that's really helpful. And I've got all my meeting notes that way.
Yeah.
So I can
great.
Yeah, you got cases.
Well, if you got that, then you can build it. And so we put like branding and actually wrote it a code instead of it. Like we actually built it as like a HTML script. And then like it's got all the different components in it. And so like it's got our coloring, it's got shading. It looks like it looks like something the big, I know it looks like something the Big Five did, but it's AI is doing it because we're using, ChatGPT inside of a
we use Codex with ChatGPT, so it's
Codex,
even
yes,
still
and I
code.
use Claude code.
Yeah. Pretty good.
I
It
tried
gets
using Codex,
better.
I didn't love it. But I that's literally what happened is I was trying to use Codex and I was like, I don't like how this is quite talking, and it was just a lot of work. So I switched over, I asked Claude to do it, and I went, oh, this was way better. And so that's how I started moving. But that's a really good idea because I do have, so in Claude, for any of the businesses that I'm invested in or like own, you can say like JJK brand, and it will pull up it's called, they save them as skills, but it'll pull up the skill with all of my colors, my logos, the way it talks, who our ICP is, like everything. It's, oh my God, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And those watching are probably like, oh, this lady is crazy on the AI. And also shameless plug, I am teaching at Blackhawk Tech this fall on AI. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. But okay, so kind of going backwards, so out of AI, maybe it is AI. Do you have any advice for starting lean and figuring out as you go? Like what would you tell somebody? Maybe not a partnership or just like somebody starting a service. And like,
when we do a service, we've learned over the years, don't build it first, sell it first.
Validate somebody wants it or cares about it or shows any interest, and then build it afterwards. Now, if you're building like even if it's a physical product, try to figure out a way to validate product market fit before you go and spend a bunch of money on assets. Just incrementally, right? Experiment your way into the future. Don't analyze your way into the future. You can sit there and build a whole business plan, and that sometimes can help to like focus in on what you should do, but then find a way to do something small. So like, even just, you don't necessarily have to go and open a business bank account in an LLC right away. Sometimes you need to just experiment and see what's going on and figure out what you want to do. And then if it feels like, okay, there's a level of liability here where I could be protected by an LLC, then go pay $130. And you can do that in an evening. Like you help friends, like family.
You get done with a sales call, they're like, yeah, we want to do that. We're ready to move forward. And they're like, send me a statement of work. I'm like, all right, create a statement of work. And then you're like, all right, now I got to pay me. Like I need an LLC, I need a bank account. Like go get those things. You can do that all in a couple days. It's not a big deal.
Oh, we do it all in like literally 20 minutes. Because I'm nothing if not like shit or get off the pot. But that's how we kind of do it. I think it was week 3 that we finally had people set up. the legal side of their business, because I was like, you need to go talk to people. You need to have answer to these questions. You need to be able, you need to have your pitch of like, this is what I do, and people respond to you positively. On the flip side, and I always tell people, it doesn't matter what your LLC is named, you can do any business under it. So on the flip side of that, because the older the LLC, the better chances you're able to do things fiscally with it. I'm like, start it now. If you change your business name, oh well.
Yep. Yeah,
It's so funky.
domain names and product names are probably harder, but
Yeah.
anyways, so yeah, the
Okay.
website and like there's been various website domains I've purchased over the years, and like they just sit. We don't use them.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it's harder to like secure those if you find the idea. So
okay, so I'm a marketer through and through. Earlier this year, I decided it was one of those, am I paying for it monthly or annually? Should I keep it? That kind of thing. Right. And I went, okay, you're spending thousands of dollars a year on domains. And I went through, I had 98 domains. I have pared them down to one page. I can print them on a one page. I was so proud of myself. I was like,
you had 98?
It's a lot.
That's a problem.
It's a real problem.
98? That's a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot. Well, because like I would be like, oh, well, that's a really cool business name, or that would be a really cool idea, or like, I don't know. I'm a great brander and builder. So I'll just build something. For example, the podcast that I bought all this for, decent money. It's live. You can it's set up everywhere. Branding, everything done. In a day. This is what people pay me for. But like in a day I was done, and now I own decentmoneypodcast.com.
Yeah.
I ain't using it. Someday I will. Because I feel like I have enough like business friends now locally that have said yes to come on the masterclass, that they would definitely come back onto that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because that has absolutely no like brand authority whatsoever. It will be for the fun of it. This is what I want to do.
Well, you make me feel better. We don't own 98 domains. I don't own 98 domains. So
but you don't do marketing. You're not a marketer. So, there's that.
I mean, we are like
kind of
semi-pro, marketing, because we do our own marketing, but not like professional. Like
we're like, are we college level?
You're probably past college level because you making money. So like something's working, decent money. See, that's why I wanted the decent money.
Yeah.
My wife used to be a graphic designer though, and like the stuff that I create, like I don't know if I've ever received a first reaction from her that's like, way to go. Like usually it's like, that's pretty bad. And I like
I'm like, I already shipped it.
Like, that looks great. And I'm like, let me check with Chris. She's usually like,
no.
This is not, this looks like a college kid did this for a project. And I'm
what?
like, oh, thanks.
You got to reach out to the kid because he does that all the time. He'll be like, you like it? What do you think? And I'm like, you can't publish that. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's 4 different colors, baby. You gotta go fix that. He gets so proud of himself though. So you deal with a lot of execution. I know we were just talking about like kind of prepping yourself to get started and making sure you're lean and not like doing things. But since you deal with execution every day, all day, every year, all year, what are some of the things or problems that you usually see that are going to start like an execution problem, as it like rolls down the hill? That you're like, if you would have just kept on this or fixed this or then we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest ones is that specialty is the enemy of agility.
Ooh.
And so if you add multi-specialties or get very specific roles and outsource things, you are also outsourcing your agility, which is your ability to change and adapt very quickly. And so it's also going to impact your ability to deliver. And so that's one of the conscious decisions we made in our business. Like that's why we want to know everything, like from accounting to marketing to sales to execution, everything, right? And we want to be able to know that. So like, there's no one we got to wait on for anything.
Smart.
Same thing inside of teams when we're helping them with execution. Usually they try to scale and they think they got to act like the Fortune 500. And so like they want to do that way too fast. And what they realize is then they move as slow as they do. And that's their competitive advantage. So like, only add in what you absolutely have to add in from a process standpoint, stay as cross-functional and hungry where you frequently deliver as possible, I think is key as you're starting any company and starting to scale up.
When we enter an engagement, we usually come in sort of like a surgical SWAT team where we're just like diagnosing the environment. I'd say 80-20 rule at least, maybe 90-10, maybe 100. I don't know. Every time we walk in, it's the same pattern. And so the things preventing you from demonstrating a high level of agility as an organization or a department or a team is usually wait time. Wait time is because there's a dependency, some bottleneck dependency that's usually outside of your team or department. And so then the dependency is there because we've organized the people in the org around a specialty thing. So when he says specialty is the enemy of agility, the more you create all these little silos of specialty in an organization, and then you start a project, it's just chaos. And all we do is typically simplify things, keep it simple, organize people around the thing you want to get done, make sure you've reduced and eliminated as many dependencies they have as possible. And then all of a sudden you just start delivering like 10x faster.
It's all about the delivery. It's all about the delivery. And so it's like, what do you need? You need all the skill sets, and you need to be organized around solving problems. And the thing that actually really matters to your customers and users that you make money on. If you do that and you don't organize by the things they do, but you organize around value to be created, it changes the game.
And I guess relating it back to business, not just what we do with our clients, but for business, we worked in a consultancy where there was a sales team. There was an engagement manager. There was the agile coach. There was somebody who did training. There was a lot of specialty. Now, some of us could do a lot of that. And the reason I ultimately quit my job was I saw what my consultancy charged for me. I saw what they paid me. There's a huge gap there. So then you're like, wait a second. I'm getting pretty good at sales, even though I'm not a salesperson. And you just start adding up. I know what a profit and loss statement is. So you start adding up all the stuff and you're like, I think I could just do this on my own. And so what we do now is we try to just stay lean by maintaining that multi-skilledness and not, I mean, it'd be easy for us to like have a goal of like, oh, let's just grow and scale and we'll hire employees and then they'll do certain things and we'll only do certain things. But now we've lost our agility. So now that sales follow-up might take the sales team longer than us because we're like right there with the client. We know what needs to happen. So anyway,
and you can build it for them. I mean, that's one thing that I found, and I mean, different but same, right? Fractional business development, CMO work. But I went through 8 salespeople last year trying to help. Like, I was like, I wanted to grow bigger. And then I sat down with myself doing my 2026 plan and I went, no. And because I realized, like, if you started the conversation with somebody and said, oh, yeah, we could do that. And then by the time they actually got on an actual sales call, consulting call, whatever you want to call it, coffee chat with me, I was like, yeah, we can do that. And then I was like, oh, we're not going to be able to charge enough. Like, it's not going to make sense. Or you're just not in the place that you need to be. You know, like, this is the growth you're looking for is, $15,000 a month. You have 3. Like you're just not in the place you need to be able to do this, whatever. And so I kept running into that issue, and I was like, oh, maybe I kept thinking it was a salesperson issue. Like, the leads were good, the companies were good, they just weren't quite fitting. And it was the agility of being able to say, like, I'm happy to help, but I think what we need to do is this instead. I'm going to engage differently. And that has made a big switch. And in all honesty, your bottom line. So I don't disagree with you. I like that. The anti-silo. I also anti-silo. We all kind of work on stuff. Which, when you have a team, isn't necessarily the best way to do things. But again, I do write all the SOPs down. So you just kind of can pick up where somebody else left off. Last question, unless somebody else on the internet watching has said question. For somebody that's already in it, but is feeling stuck, because you are the execution masters, right? What is the first thing that they should look at?
In what way are they stuck?
Let's say growth. Let's start there, and then we can maybe product creation. So product creation is way before growth, obviously, but then. Just because you guys be knowing products. And I am not good at products. I will tell everybody I am a service queen.
Yeah, I would say we say this phrase a lot, nail it before you scale it. And I think it applies to teams, departments, and overall, depending on the size of your org, but even big orgs, like they want to just throw people at a problem. And we would recommend to basically focus on removing as much as you can to get to a point. This is the bare minimum we need to deliver this service or this product, and then scale up from that area. Again, I think we've seen so many companies just go the route of like, oh, we're getting bigger now, so now we do have to go hire someone to do this, someone to do this, someone to do this. So even with growth, I would just be cautious to grow by hiring a bunch of specialties, or look at a large organization and look how they're structured and mimic it. I would instead think, how can I be the most lean organization in 2026, and then try to scale from that point. And that means doing one thing really well and then replicating that instead of.
I think we have a bias towards efficiency in most organizations. And if you're doing knowledge work and you're trying to grow, efficiency isn't what you're after. It's not the first thing anyways. You want to be effective. And so what you need to look at is like, where is my bottleneck? What is the thing that stopped me from delivering more? And how do I solve that problem? That's the biggest problem to solve. And as you're adding people or adding skill sets onto the team, you got to think about that. Other people scale too fast, and then there goes their margins and there goes your cash flow. And those are two very different things. And you have to make sure they're balanced from a financial side, and you understand that equation. I think if you do, you can do it slowly, and you want to do it very strategically. You see too many people go too fast. They almost always go that direction. And so I'd be cautious as you're thinking about growing people. I would try to find ways to validate you actually need that. Very similar to our monthly subscription versus annual subscription before, like validate you need this skill. Maybe you contract this out for a while. 1099 did. Does this help? Do they bring value? And then maybe you hire them on and bring that person on. Maybe you don't. Those might be things I'd be considering, is like, how can I try this out and validate that this is going to work?
Okay. No, that makes really good sense. And I mean, I'm a big fan. I've done literal speeches and talks on this and panels. There's always a place in business where you're scaling. And then after you scale, you have to go through a sustainment phase. You just can't keep scaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to do 1, 2, sustain for as long as it took you to scale that at the very least, and then do it again. And I always taught it from a people perspective of, your team can't, just because you're motivated and you're so excited and you're hungry, doesn't mean that your team is that hungry. Your team is working for you for a paycheck. They might really like the job. They might really like what they're doing. But at the end of the day, they're coming for a paycheck. And so you've got to give them a time to adjust to this new thing.
Sure.
But it's the same whether you're a solopreneur.
And if we were advising someone on a clean slate of how to run your organization, I don't know if you ever read Reinventing Organizations by Frederick Laloux, but that would be something we would advise. Like, incentives matter. So that comment that you made, which is so ubiquitous of like, I'm just working for the paycheck. Well, that's just because that's how most organizations structure it. And then everyone wonders, why don't you have the same level of conviction as the founder? Why don't you have the same level of conviction as the C-suite? Because they're not making the same level of money as you. And so that's why. So if you want that to change, then structure your incentives in your organization to give them a piece of the pie. Create a bunch of profit and loss centers when you're scaling, instead of a bunch of doers who just work for the paycheck. And so there's organizations that have been written about where they've done this. So that's one book. And then Gary Hamel has another book that we loved, Humanocracy. He has a bunch of companies he talks about in that one as well that have done this, right? It's still rare, but just because it's rare, I think it's
rare because it's hard on you, the founder. Right. You have to have a lot of thoughts and critical thought into why you're doing what you're doing when you're doing it.
And you got to find the right fit for that, because if you're going to give people a piece of the pie, then you better hope you hire for fit, right? And you got to exit people quickly if they're not the right fit.
Saying is hire slow, fire fast. I hire fast, fire fast. Because my thought is, I'll give you a chance. If you're telling me that you can do this job, you're saying that you're going to grow into this position, able to do it, I'll give you the chance. Now, in 2 months, if I'm like, bro, you are not, like, we've had conversations, we are not up to the task, then we're firing fast too. In and out. And I find that's helpful for your team. I like to think my team is a bunch of A players. I'm sure they think about themselves the same way. You know, really high drive, go-getters. Get it done. You know what I mean? Just like really, really good people that want to see what we're doing come to fruition well. And when you hire somebody that isn't part of the squad, it brings the whole thing down quick.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll get up on a mini soapbox. I don't ultimately care what a founder does. If you want an organization with people who are just going to collect a paycheck, that's totally fine. Just don't go and complain when they don't act like a founder. That's it. Like you can't have it both ways, right? I mean, and that doesn't mean not all employees just work for paycheck and aren't motivated and don't do great work. Some people love coming to work, working for the paycheck and do great work. But when push comes to shove, they're not going to go above and beyond typically if there's not some incentive there.
This is great conversation. So mostly because we're at the hour and I'm hungry. So where can people find you guys in Wisconsin Agility? I mean, Wisconsin Agility makes it easy, but where can people find you guys?
You can look us up on our website. We got a connect page on there. LinkedIn.
Agility.com. You can find us at wiagility.com. You can find us at wiagile.com. It was funny when we first launched, there was wasn't really any SEO for our website. And so if you search Wisconsin Agility, you got a dog training agility training website, but we've clearly passed them. I think if you search Wisconsin Agility, we're number one hit.
Okay. I'm gonna test it out. I've only ever clicked on it, so now I'm gonna have to search it.
So, but also just a misconception or misunderstanding, I guess. People sometimes think oh, so you just work in Wisconsin? We've worked outside of, I mean, he's actually traveled even to Europe and done some training and things like that. So the reason we called it Wisconsin Agility, I don't know, should we tell
the story,
the one word equity story?
Yeah.
So you heard of the concept of one word equity?
No, go for it.
So one word equity is if I say the word search, what do you think of? What company do you think of?
Google.
Right. Or if I were to say Tesla, you think of one person, Elon Musk. So some people who are very famous have one word equity, right? So in the work we do, there's this framework called Scrum. That's the most popular framework in the space of agility. And so the story he told about the founder, Ken Schwaber, he's one of the names that comes up. So if I say the word Scrum to people who use Scrum around the world, they are going to say either Ken Schwaber or Jeff Sutherland, the two co-creators of Scrum. And so we were like, well, what kind of equity do we have? And the word agile, nope, not us. The word Scrum, nope, not us. But we spend a lot of time in that realm. And so we were like, well, we're from Wisconsin. And we were both born and raised here, and we have roots here, and we love working with companies in Wisconsin. There's a culture in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, what about Wisconsin Agility, right? And so I
was like, I think we can get that to 2-word equity. When people think Wisconsin Agility, they think Chad and Jeff. I think we can do that.
So that was our goal. I think it's been working pretty well, but we don't work in just Wisconsin. It's just where we wanted to put our.
No, I agree. I don't work in just Wisconsin either, but I don't have Wisconsin in my name either. But no, that's really good. I guess I've never heard of one word equity. Now I'm gonna have to go searching.
Yeah, so
I learned so much. These are so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to do these because I always learn something new. And I like learning. I'm a learning. But a lot of these books I'm gonna put this out there. A lot of these books you're saying are written by men. I have a rule. I don't read books written by men. Only women.
Okay.
That have done it.
I think we got a lot of books we can recommend by women too.
Yeah, like Johanna Rothman. You should check out her book. She's got a really good book on consulting. Her Modern Management series, very good. Yeah.
I know I have this rule. I started it 15 years ago, and I've managed it. What did I read? Because I'm in the marketing space, and he wrote a book, and I read it, and I was like, this is shit. ClickFunnels.
Okay.
Yeah, it was this huge thing because back when you were using WordPress and stuff where you couldn't make a one pager and make it really flow and work together and all the stuff, right? Very, very agile in your sales process. And so he wrote a book, and I remember reading it and going, why am I reading this, man? This is the dumbest waste of time I've done in a long time. And I made a switch. Well, and it was because it was a very hustle culture. If you work 180 hours, you'll get $180,000 kind of thing. You'll make $1 million. And I was like, that's not how it works. And for most women, that's not how it works. You literally physically can't, but also we're the ones that usually have to take care of the house or the kids. And I was like, this isn't helpful, especially when I'm consulting with mostly women businesses. I can't tell them to do this. This doesn't make any sense. And
there's bad advice everywhere.
Bad advice everywhere.
Yeah.
But some men do have people at home, and I mean some women do, but people at home that will kind of hold down the fort,
Yeah.
right? And traditionally that was the idea.
Yeah.
And he was very, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And I went, this is not helpful. So like, I mean, like Wakeman is reality-based leadership here. Amazing. Eat, pray, fuck my life. How to get shit done. Girl boss. That's all I gotta say. This is a fraction of said books. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. My house is bad.
We probably slowed down in recent years, but man, for a while we were just,
you were sucking up the knowledge.
oh my goodness, we were just reading so many books,
So
and
many.
we were traveling. So pre-pandemic, we were traveling a lot, and so we were just like audio, listening.
Yeah, I'm a big listener because I'm, out and about.
Yeah,
doing
but you
things.
could knock a book out on a business trip, and like then you just
Yeah.
do another one. So I don't know,
I
a
love
little
it.
less now maybe, but
So things to clip, agile books.
yeah.
I love it. Well, for anybody listening, if you're linked with me on LinkedIn, they're going to be your seconds because they're linked with me on LinkedIn, so you'll be able to find them pretty easily. Or if you are having a hard time for some reason spelling Chad and Jeff, feel free to email me and I will connect you. But they're right here in Madison, so they're
Yeah.
always around to chat. Any final words before we head out for the night?
You have anything?
I mean, I don't know, just do it. Take action. I think that's a theme as an owner. Like, you're only getting paid for delivery, and so take a bias towards action.
A bias for action.
A bias.
Have a bias for action. I think that's a good
That should
mantra as a new business owner. Have a bias for action.
Have a bias for
Stop
action.
planning, start doing.
See, and I'm raunchy. I say shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, there you go.
That works.
That works.
You know? All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for everybody watching. I'm going to end the stream, but that doesn't mean it has to end here. Chat them up.